Hello and welcome everyone back to the Hold for Hold Pro Wrestling channel. I'm your host, Jaime, your host and your brother, sorry, Jaime. And yeah, today we are going to be covering AEW Dynamite. It was kind of a stacked show, you guys. But before we dive into Dynamite, I do have some wrestling news to cover, as there's kind of been a development in the wrestling world. I haven't really touched on many of the things going on in a while because I don't think I'll be doing a Monday show for a little while, as my schedule just doesn't really allow for me to do it. So Monday Night Raw reviews are kind of off the table for possibly up until January, and then we'll reevaluate from there. And as we all know, I do not watch NXT 2.0, so I believe Wednesday Night Dynamite is going to be my first show every week. You can count on that. It's to be honest, the best wrestling going on right now. So it's almost you can't miss it. So, anyways, channel business aside, we're gonna dive into some news. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is that Xavier Woods and the Up Down Down creators are seemingly on strike. So Fightful Select has reported that Xavier Woods and other content creators for the channel are taking a pause from creating content, which I kind of noticed because I am a subscriber of Up Down Down and they haven't uploaded anything in a few weeks. And I kind of just thought that was because of the tours or because Woods now is King Woods. But yeah, it seems that Xavier Woods' deal is the main issue here. He basically doesn't get paid for the work that he does on the channel. Apparently, all the money that he should be getting paid goes towards like his downside bonus or something like that. It's convoluted contract talk, but essentially, it's not real money that's going into the man's pocket, and he's working very hard. And so, in solidarity with Xavier Woods, the other creators on Down Down are all on strike essentially. Like I haven't heard anyone call it a strike, but this is what it is. You're on strike so that way Xavier Woods could get a better deal, and I like it. This is much needed in especially in the WWE. Um, if you guys would remember all the stuff that happened with WWE and wrestlers having Twitch accounts and that being kind of a wedge that just seemingly didn't get resolved. I mean, we heard reports that WWE was going to let people have Twitch accounts, but that WWE was going to own them still at the end of the day. But then kind of seemed like that never panned out. And now no one has Twitch accounts like AJ Styles, no Twitch account. And he was growing, being a bigger one. And obviously, we all know where I'm going to stand on this. I'm on the side of the performers. I'm on the side of the people that are independent contractors and are being restricted. It's complete overreach by this company. They shouldn't be able to do stuff like this. And I'm glad I'm in full solidarity with Xavier Woods and Down, Down, the whole team there, because they are putting in so much work. I can't even imagine how much work they're putting in. And they're just not seeing any of the financial revenue coming from it. You know, it's a 2 million plus subscriber channel. It's, but yeah, anyways, that's the first bit of news I wanted to cover because it really does bother me that WWE does stuff like this. This is where, you know, labor rights issues get in the mix, and I really don't. I don't like it when people are exploiting other people, you know, when companies are exploiting people. But, anyways, you guys, switching gears here. There were some reports last week, maybe a few weeks ago, about Bray Wyatt. He had kind of teased being on the Warner Brothers set, in one of their sets. I guess that's what they're called, sets. And so a little bit of speculation started about him maybe possibly potentially having a movie coming out or working in the film industry in general. And I didn't really want to cover it yet because there was no concrete evidence to suggest that he was doing anything. It just maybe seemed like he was, because as we know, the Fiend character had like a bunch of special effects done by Hollywood people. So I kind of didn't want to say, you know, he's making a movie if he was just getting a new Fiend outfit. You know what I mean? But it seemingly is confirmed that Bray Wyatt is going Hollywood. His special effects artist, Alistair, I forget his last name, excuse me, but his special effects artist kind of confirms it and says that this new movie or horror movie will not be based on The Fiend and will be completely new. And I think this is fantastic news. Bray Wyatt is someone who I think really, I don't want. I'm gonna pick my words carefully. I almost said benefited from the pandemic, but let's just not say that. I mean to say he made the best with the limitations that were forced and enforced because of the pandemic. The Thunderdome era of wrestling. I think his creativity really shined there. His type of wrestling entertainment doesn't necessarily work with the crowd always. And so when he is able to have cinematic matches essentially in these bigger, more Hollywood style productions, his character and his entire ideology is really shown for us. And we don't have to worry about the crowd not getting it or it not being entertaining for a live crowd. You can just watch it and enjoy it at home. And yeah, Bray Wyatt's just a freaking, he's a good creative. He's a good thinker. He understands, what his message is, how to display that message in a convincing and compelling way. There's the word. So yeah, I'm excited to see whatever happens here with Bray Wyatt. I think that I don't know. I don't see him fitting in with many promotions really, wrestling promotions that is. I mean, but the thing about Bray Wyatt is he can always change and find his avenue in any promotion. So, but just for the scale of the characters he likes to build, it doesn't really fit in with anyone, and it especially doesn't fit in with anyone other than AEW, who kind of has that bigger budget. But even then, it's like, man, they already have Malachi Black, and they don't really need another spooky character. But again, Bray Wyatt can always change that. But yeah, super excited for this project. Can't wait to hear more details about it. Who knows? We might even do like a watch along here on the channel if enough people want to see that. But following that, we're going to discuss what might be the official end of NXT 1.0. Yeah, as we all know, I do not watch NXT 2.0. I think it's garbage. I watched the first episode and I keep up with it every single week. I watch most clips on Twitter and I listen to people like Going a Raw, great resource there, great other podcasts to listen to. And I'm in the loop with all the storylines and I just am not compelled by any of it. And I honestly think it's going to completely collapse on itself. But I don't want to get too much into that because I think I will make a video about NXT 2.0 and why I don't watch it. But anyways, War Games is announced for NXT 2.0, and it's not a takeover, you guys. It will be a special event, but it's the end. It seemingly is the end of takeovers. They're not using the takeover name, and I kind of don't think they'll ever use it again unless we see some kind of rebranding back to NXT 1.0, which at this point is just, I think the brand is going to fail before we ever see that. So with that in mind, War Games was announced. Absolutely meaningless stipulation in this new surroundings. I mean, who on the men's side is going to be in War Games? You don't have factions. You have green meatheads all competing for like 3-minute squash matches. How are they going to do a War Games? It's not something I'm interested in. The Toxic Attraction is probably the clearest War Games match because they have a faction, and then I guess the baby faces are just gonna have to rally together to face them. But even then, it's like Toxic Attraction's only been around for what, 2 months, 3 months, maybe. I don't know. It's not good. So yeah, War Games is back though. It's a stipulation that everyone loves. It's been protected really well by NXT thus far, and now I think it's going to be exploited to the bones. We're going to probably see it every single year, no matter what, around the same time, because that's just what WWE does. And not to hate on NXT 2.0 for doing this specifically, because they kind of were already doing it with NXT 1.0. But the difference is in 1.0, they always had people to put in it, and feuds always made sense for War Games. I don't think there has been a War Games where the feuds didn't really make sense. Oh, yes, there was. Pat McAfee's War Games was not. That's the one War Games I actually did not watch. It was kind of during that era where I just wasn't watching wrestling because it was Thunderdome. But then also I thought that one was a little forced. So, okay, the trend had been started. But anyways, War Games, it's going to be on NXT 2.0. Don't know what it's going to look like. Are they going to put paint splatters on the actual cage? I mean, they already have a red Hell in a Cell. I really wouldn't be surprised if they have like some used car version of War Games where every single panel is a different color, like someone's 90s Mitsubishi with different car doors. But anyways, following that, we're going to talk about a little bit of something that's going to lead into Dynamite. Korishna Okada has inducted the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy into Chaos, you guys. So we're really seeing the forbidden door open up here. I'm really excited because it kind of teases that Okada can make a little bit of a trip to AEW, which, ooh, who wouldn't want to see that? He's going to be in the US here soon. He's facing off against, I believe his new name is Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy, which is going to be an absolute banger. I need to figure out how to watch that. But yeah, Okada recruiting the Best Friends, recruiting Orange Cassidy, meaning that the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy are now in the same stable as Yano, which is a perfect fit. And yeah, I hope to see Orange Cassidy in New Japan too. He'd be great in the Best of the Super Juniors. But yeah, so anyways, guys, that is a little bit of a jump off point here into AEW Dynamite, which, as I mentioned at the head of the show, this was a good Dynamite. A good Dynamite normally has 2 banger matches. This one actually might even be teetering on a great Dynamite because it had 3 banger matches and really limited the talking segments, which I kind of have felt the last couple of weeks there have been a little bit too much talking. And Dynamite's always best when they just let those wrestlers wrestle because they have some of the best wrestlers on the planet. Starting things off though with possibly the best wrestler on the planet, Bryan Danielson, taking on Rocky Romero, which I never watched a Rocky Romero match. I actually didn't know anything about him. And when I saw the graphic go up, I was like, I've definitely heard his name, but I've never watched a match. And commentary did a great job catching me up because I didn't know. Selling the history between these two and like the technical prowess of Rocky Romero. So that was really helpful. And yeah, this match starts off, and you guessed it, they go hold for hold here to start. Bryan gets caught in an armbar that kind of surprises him. He's like, oh, okay. After a beat, Danielson gets sent into the to the outside, and Orange Cassidy kind of distracts Danielson, which I kind of thought was a little out of character. But that distraction allows Rocky Romero to hit a middle rope dive. Bryan is able to make a comeback though, hits a series of kicks in the corner, follows it all up with a Romero special, which, good pun. He's not able to put the Dragon Sleeper variation on though, as Romero slips out. He's able to come back with a springboard tornado DDT. That gets him 2, and it was a good looking DDT. Lost my place, sorry. He sets up Bryan in the ropes and nails a stiff, and I mean stiff. Like he puts him right in the middle ropes. He just nails him with a stiff middle drop kick from like the middle rope. That sounded terrible, but it was a flying drop kick right to Bryan Danielson's face. Bryan is able to catch Rocky with a discus forearm and a German suplex. Sorry guys. Man, I'm messing up a little bit today. But anyways, after the drop kick, he follows it up with a dive off the steps and then hits a running slice spread for 2, which I thought was a really impressive move because the logistics behind a slice spread, normally they like use the turnbuckles or use the ropes to leverage themselves up, but Romero just deadlifted himself over Danielson, and it looked fantastic. So he hits that, he gets 2. Bryan is able to catch up though. He hits Romero with a discus forearm and a German suplex. He starts back up with some more strikes and looks for an avalanche back suplex, but in midair, Romero turns the weight on him, and so he slams down on Danielson's head, which I hate seeing that reversal, but man, it's entertaining, but man, it's just scary. As Bryan kicks out of that pin attempt, Romero locks in another armbar. Bryan has to deadlift Rocky to like break it. We get a strike exchange from these two. Romero like counters a strike into another armbar. Bryan Danielson turns into an ankle lock, back into an armbar from Romero. Bryan is able to break it. He nails a nasty head kick, and then Romero looks for another slice spread, this time going up the turnbuckles. but Danielson catches Romero out of the sliced bread, somehow transitions him into the Danielson stomps, and locks in a tequila sunrise for the win. This match was an unexpected banger. As I had mentioned, I had never watched a Rocky Romero match, and these two had beautiful chemistry. Just a great start off to Dynamite. Yeah, I just can't say enough good things. I was really surprised by this match. Another surprising factor here, another surprising segment, I should say, is the Inner Circle American Top Team here. This might be my favorite segment they've done, and that's not saying much because this has been terrible. But Inner Circle making their entrance, you hear the Judas, they're starting up, the crowd's starting up, and they're attacked from behind by American Top Team. So yeah, we just get like a bunch of kendo shots to everybody. Eventually, it's punctuated by Dan Lambert on the top rope. He tells his boys, his duders, to get Jericho up. Dan Lambert power bombs Jericho through a table, which is great, fantastic. So he power bombs through the table. Sorry, y'all, I had something in my throat. Ethan Page then gets on the mic and says that they're going to make sure Lambert pins Jericho on Saturday, but tonight Lambert's going to tap out Jericho with the walls of Jericho. And so Dan Lambert walks in the walls of Jericho. Scorpio Sky makes Jericho tap like with his hand, so Jericho did not tap. But yeah, segment over. Quick, no talking, pretty much no talking, and only talking from the people that I think need the rub the most, being Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. So I enjoyed it. Following this, we had Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter taking on Anna Jay, Ty Conti, and Thunder Rosa. If you guys don't know this, I love Thunder Rosa. I really am excited to. I love her story in AEW. I think this is going to be an Adam Page situation where Thunder Rosa is gonna get. I think she's gonna be the next AEW Women's Champion for sure. She's not gonna be the next TBS champion, but she's definitely going to be the next AEW Women's Champion. And so, anytime I get to see her in the ring, I'm excited. I was at Fyter Fest night 1 or night 2, I believe, the one that was in Austin, Texas, and Thunder Rosa came out for a dark match, and the crowd absolutely erupted. It was the same reaction that Hangman had when he came out just to challenge the Elite. And so, yeah, I just see that trajectory completely the same. But anyways, back to this match. We have a chaotic start to the match. Everyone's like brawling in the ring. Eventually, order is kind of restored. Rosa and Britt Baker start off the match, which is perfect way to start any match. These two are just absolute gold together. They're going hold for hold. Eventually, Rebel does get tagged in, and Rosa takes it to her. Jamie Hayter gets a nice distraction in on Anna Jay, and the Dastardly Heels gain control that way. So they isolate Anna Jay during the entire break. We go to commercial, we come back. Anna Jay makes a hot tag to Ty Conti. She goes after everyone with pump kicks in the corner. She hits the Ty KO on Jamie, but gets overwhelmed by Britt Baker. And then, Jamie kind of regains control. Chaos ensues again. Everybody's hitting everybody with everything. Everyone's down. Rosa sees Jamie Hayter on the outside, so she climbs up to the top rope and dives off onto Jamie Hayter with a beautiful crossbody, which I think those two are going to have a match this Friday, and that's going to be a banger. So yeah, she hits that. Meanwhile, Ty Conti hits the DDT on Rebel for the win. Britt sees that she's about to hit the DDT, and Ty Conti says something to Britt, and Britt's like, forget this. She just lets Rebel get hit with it and kind of like forfeits the match, essentially. So yeah, continuing that story, Ty Conti and Britt Baker are going to be a good match at Full Gear. And yeah, I enjoyed this match overall. Following that, we had Jungle Boy taking on Anthony Bowens. And not to be like that guy, but this was kind of the lull of the show for me. This and a little bit of a further segment is, I love Jungle Boy. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. It's just this match, this exhibition match for kind of no reason, wasn't really necessary. And I'm not the biggest fan on the Acclaim, so just didn't really care. So this is kind of a nothing match. Bowens uses his power and and Caster like interferes now and then to hold control. Jungle Boy does eventually come back and overcome the odds, beats them both essentially, and we get like a dramatic snare trap where Jungle Boy has Bowens in the snare trap, and Bowens is trying to crawl over to Caster so that he can reach the ropes. And just before he can do it, he has to tap, which pretty good finish. I enjoyed that at least. Post match, though, this is where things pick up. Bobby Fish attacks Jungle Boy. Yes, 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 yes. As we all know, I am a mark for Bobby Fish. And Bobby Fish came out, attacked Jungle Boy, hit that exploder suplex on the ropes. Jurassic Express has to make the save. Bobby Fish, he's going to lose here again, but I don't care. It's Bobby Fish. Following that, we have a backstage segment with the Super Kliq, and Adam Cole says he's going to introduce someone to the Young Bucks. And lo and behold, he introduces Bobby Fish. So yeah, he says this is one of my great friends. I vouch for him, like he's cool. And the Bucks are like, we know Bobby Fish. And they tell him they know him very well, and there's no disputing in AEW. This is the era of the elite, which I love. Coles then offers Fish a match with Jungle Boy for Rampage, kind of teasing a partnership here. He's like, you soften up Jungle Boy, we'll finish him off at Full Gear. Kind of a weird, I didn't really get this, but I will say, so this whole like partnership, it definitely seems like Cole's gonna turn on Fish. Like it doesn't seem like this was a very genuine offer. And it didn't seem like the Bucks are very interested in adding Fish to their like rankings. And so yeah, I mean, I think O'Reilly's contract is coming up soon. So Adam Cole turning on Fish, O'Reilly coming in, this could be really good. This could be really good. So yeah, we kind of got an Undisputed Era like baby reunion. Baby reunion. But it was enough for me to pop. I absolutely love the Undisputed Era. They're one of my favorite factions in wrestling of all time. So yeah, really enjoyed this. Following that, another thing I really enjoy is Wardlow smashing fools. So Wardlow takes on Wheeler Yuta here, which I didn't really want to see Wardlow squash Wheeler Yuta because I like Wheeler Yuta. But he does get kind of a good showing. Yuta outsmarts Wardlow in the beginning. He's like just dodging him and then hitting him with drop kicks where he can. But then he slips and then he gets caught with power bombs. 4 nasty power bombs. And then Wardlow hits that devastating knee, the Casualty of War, which is a great name, for the win. Poor Wheeler Yuta, but man, I love Wardlow. So I can forgive it. I can forgive it. And I think Wheeler Yuta, this is definitely building up some kind of story for him. He got smoked by Jon Moxley. He got smoked by Wardlow. He might be one of the people to break out of the Best Friends crew. I wouldn't be surprised. It kind of seems like Yuta needs a character and needs a cause, and unfortunately, he doesn't really have one. But things don't get better for him because immediately following the match, the Hardy family office attacks. I believe it's just the Blade and Caster, somebody. But essentially, they attack, they beat up Orange Cassidy and Trent. And then Hardy puts a chair over Orange Cassidy's head, hits a side effect on it. Boom. Like I said, I'm not that big into this feud. I don't think it has any heat, really. What I do think needs to be done is kind of more tag team stuff with them because you got the Butcher and the Blade, which I don't know if the Butcher is just injured because I haven't really seen him much, but you got the Butcher and the Blade there. You got Best Friends. That can be really fun. And then you got Orange Cassidy, you got Matt Hardy. You can do 6-man tags that are going to be good. But these singles matches, I just don't know. We'll have to see. I usually do turn around during these matches because, like, Matt Hardy does surprise me in the ring. His match with Christian a while back, that surprised me. I was like, man, Hardy is still got it. So who knows? Maybe this, this just needs to build a little more, and then I'll be on board. But for right now, it's not my favorite thing, but it's not boring, to say the least. It is still, like, kind of interesting. It's just I kind of think it's beneath Orange Cassidy, but I understand you can't go anywhere with Orange right now, especially with the tournament going on. And then, it's just, I don't know. Kind of just would rather see him in the TNT title division, I guess. But following that, we have Eddie Kingston and CM Punk in the parking lot shouting at each other. Just absolutely just incoherent ramblings of two madmen. It's a great little segment there. You have people holding back both competitors. And at one point, Eddie like breaks away from his pack and he hits a full sprint. But I think it's Ruby Soho like stops him against a car and is like, dude, no. And I think Excalibur calls it a jailbreak. So it was pretty good. It was a pretty good segment. I thought we were gonna come back to it, but we never did. So yeah, I haven't watched Rampage from last week. I was at my parents' place. I think I told y'all that, and so I didn't get to watch Rampage. So I did check out the Eddie Kingston CM Punk promo battle thing, and boy, that was so good. And I'm ready for this match. This match is going to be brutal. It's going to be fun. I'm rooting for Eddie Kingston here, to be honest, and I kind of think he's going to win. I think this is going to be Punk's first loss in AEW. I think the story calls for it, and it'll be a redemption for him to finally beat Eddie Kingston. Because let's face it, Eddie Kingston's at a different level than anyone Punk has faced so far. Maybe aside from Darby. I think Darby's like the other guy that Punk beat that's really well booked, or like, prominently booked. Eddie Kingston's definitely going to be like Punk's biggest challenger from this bit of his story of like, I got ring rust. I need to be able to work again. So very interesting stuff they're doing here. I think Eddie Kingston should win it too, because he deserves it, man. He deserves it. Following this, we have another banger match as Lio Rush and Dante Martin take on Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty. This was a real standout match for Lee, because I think the last time we saw him, or at least if you don't watch Elevation Dark like I do, last time we saw him was against Bobby Fish, and he had a really good showing there. But this is like catch can wrestling, some Luthez 1930s wrestling right here. I don't even know if Luthez wrestled in the 30s, but you get what I mean. Like, this is just hot wrestling. So yeah, it's really fun. I can't even call most of the moves, but the two trainees start off the match, Dante and Lee. They start off the match. They're going hold for hold. They earned themselves a standing ovation. It very much felt like a Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero ECW moment, where they just have wrestled each other too fast for anyone to ever call this. And by the end of it, the crowd's like, oh my God, what did we just see? So they do all that. They get the standing ovation. They tag in their old bulls. And the pace is just so fast when Lio rushes in the ring. He's just juking out Sydal, going this way, going that way. The match eventually does break down, though, as like all four members get in the ring. Sydal kind of gets in between everyone. It's like, come on, guys. And then boom, from behind, Lio Rush just sneak attacks Sydal, and that kicks off a brawl. So yeah, I can't even call the moves that they're doing, so I'm not gonna try. I would definitely just watch this match because it's just fun. It's fast-paced wrestling, felt very PWG tag style. So yeah, like I said, great match. And yeah, it really served to also like remind me how much I love Lio Rush. Like I didn't buy his character. We talked about that. I didn't like that whole like weird financial guru thing, and I'm so glad they pretty much dropped it, because this Lio Rush is perfect. He's an arrogant coach that's clearly taking advantage of Dante Martin, and Dante Martin is just too wholesome and naive to realize it. So yeah, really good. And just in the ring, Lio Rush's acting and his character work is spot on. He understands exactly how a person like that would act in the ring. And yeah, it's just great. So yeah, we get towards the finish here. Lee gets hit with one of those like kicks, those crazy kicks from Lio Rush. And Lio Rush is like, all right, now. And so Dante hits the moonsault. He gets the pin. It's a win for them, for the new team. So yeah, really good stuff. I'm totally on board with the storyline now after seeing this match and seeing the character development in the ring from everyone. And yeah, I think this is gonna get pretty what's the word, like touchy, or pretty serious between Sydel and Leo Rush. I think we're definitely going to get a match between those two, and I wouldn't mind another match between Dante and Lee Moriarty. I think that all four of these people can have multiple singles matches together, and it'd be very entertaining. Following this, sticking with entertaining, man, Miro has a promo. Miro is the best promo in pro wrestling. Period. You have your Eddie Kingstons, you have your CM Punks. They're great in-ring promos, right? They're great not conversational, but argumentative promo speakers. Miro is a great abstract promo, which is very, very hard to do. Other examples would be like Raven and Bray Wyatt, and not The Undertaker, but you get what I mean. It's a very short list of individuals who can make like these, like almost Shakespearean-esque monologues entertaining, and Miro does it every single time. But essentially, he asked if Bryan Danielson knows his God. He's like, "Do you know my God?" Which I thought was really funny for some reason. But I have a great quote here. He said, "You came here to feel alive, but you are pushing the man holding the scythe." Fantastic. Imagery, perfect. This match is going to be so good. Doesn't matter what happens, that match is going to be fantastic. So definitely watch your Miro promos, everyone. His promos right now, like, they are career promos. When anyone's going to look as a retrospective of Miro or Rusev's career, of course they're going to call out Rusev Day. But I really would make the case that these Miro promos on a week-to-week basis are just the best work he's done his entire career in and out of that ring. Woo! Anyways, you guys, let's talk about in-ring, because boy, we had a beautiful send-off match, main event match, as the bastard Pac took on FTR's own, the greatest luchadors in history, Dax Harwood. Oh, it's so good. Matches like this, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, okay? Matches like this is why I love pro wrestling. The layers of depth that each character had. Like, you completely understand Pac and Dax's entire psychology, their entire reasoning, their entire humanity as, those characters. Those people inside and out. And so when you have a matchup like this where they're fucking amazing workers, excuse my language, they're just great characters. Their logic, how they act. When you see these two lock up, you forget rankings. You don't think about the stakes anymore. You don't think, well, where do these two line up in the power rankings? Doesn't matter, because these two aren't doing this for anything other than, I need to prove that I can beat that guy because I'm that guy, So, yeah, really enjoyed this. And it's another, like, I would consider this on the same level of character built foundation maybe as like Minoru versus Danielson, or even CM Punk versus Darby Allin. I felt that matchup had that layers of depth to each character. These people, But anyways, you guys, enough of that tangent, enough of my complete marking out for these two. We get a lockup to start. It's messy. It's a messy lockup. Dax like shoves Pac in between the turnbuckles. It's fantastic. So yeah, Pac starts to chop away at Dax, literally just ripping his chest. He starts to bleed from his chest. Before the break, Pac sends Dax to the outside and hits a stiff Spaceman plancha, which I didn't even know you could make a plancha stiff, but it was. This match is so compelling that I watch during the picture-in-picture. Normally, I don't really watch. They don't do nothing in it. But I knew these two would, and they sure enough did. Dax looks for like a pile driver on the outside. Pac reverses it to a back body drop onto the ramp. He sends Dax back in the ring. Dax like surprises him with a perfect double A spine buster. And then he cinched in a abdominal stretch till we come back from the break. We come back from that break. Pac is looking to hit an avalanche like suplex. He ends up hitting an avalanche brainbuster, and it looked rough. Um, yeah, just absolutely rough. He follows that up with his shotgun dropkick from the top onto Dax's like back, and it just, woo, it scares me every time he does it. So yeah, he does that. He looks for a black arrow, but Dax rolls out of the way. Dax is able to hit a brainbuster of his own for a close 2 count. Pac escapes a suplex attempt and delivers a perfect thrust kick. And I mean, it was like so sudden. Like Pac gets out of that suplex. He kind of moves into the corner, right? Which is a great catch by commentary. And so Dax turns around and he like, it looks like he's gonna swing and boom, just eats a thrust kick right to the face. And so he's kind of set up in that corner. So yeah, Pac sees that. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go for another black arrow. He is lifting himself up. Dax gets up, breaks up that black arrow attempt, hits an avalanche back suplex. Dax then nails a stunning lariat that turns Pac inside out, picks him up, gets him up for a powerbomb, rebounds him off the ropes. It's a rebound Liger bomb for 2. And at this point, the crowd is unhinged. They're chanting. They're loving this match, which I was too. Dax does, though. He gets him up. He starts hitting him with uppercuts, stiff as could be. And Pac takes one of the arms, rolls him up for a backslide. I think Dax kicks out of it, and then Pac locks in the Rings of Saturn. And before Pac can even lock his hands fully, Dax is like, no, I'm giving up. So he immediately gives up because, he's got the bad shoulder. He's going to have a title match coming up. Perfect logic. The fact that they let characters be like this, like Dax is so forward thinking as a character. He's like, I got a match coming up. I'm just going to admit defeat. I know I can't get out of this hold. Just, I don't want to get injured. Perfect. But Pac doesn't let go of the hold. This brings out Cash. He has to break it up. Lights go out. Lights come back up. Malachi and Andrade are in the center of the ring. They start to beat down on Pac. This brings out the Lucha Bros and Cody Rhodes to make the save. So we get a chaotic brawl here. Oh, I'm really enjoying this feud purely because we get to see amazing matches every week. I'm still not the hugest Cody Rhodes fan. He definitely doesn't fit in with this crowd, but I think it's tongue-in-cheek enough to where it's like, okay, he acknowledges the Death Triangle really is a weird stable for him to be connected with, but it's through a mutual hatred type of deal. And it is announced that we will get a tag match. It's going to be Pac and Cody Rhodes taking on Malachi Black and Andrade Cien Almas. So that's going to be a really good match. And, Cody Rhodes character-wise isn't really as, I don't know, up to par as everyone else's, in my opinion. As much as I do love Cody Rhodes, and I think that he's a fantastic wrestler, he can tell a great story in the ring. It's just like, lately his character is lacking irony, or is too ironic for him to not really be touching on it. You know what I mean? Like, he's not in on the joke that he's saying. And so it kind of makes it like, kind of cringe. So, but anyways, that should be a fantastic match. This was a fantastic match, and I'm so glad we got to see it on AEW Dynamite. Following that, the real main event, the true main event, it's Hangman Page and Kenny Omega's contract signing. The Elite and Dark Order are both stables are banned from ringside. We got a short little video of each of them leaving the arena in their own ways. And I love stuff like that. Like that little detail of you see, they're gone. That's great. Omega calls out Page pretty much right off the bat for his insecurities, saying that the fans don't know this, but when the cameras aren't rolling, it was the Elite that were picking up Omega and putting him back on that, or picking up Page and putting him back on that saddle. Really kind of challenging Page's idea of the cowboy spirit of him hoisting himself up by his bootstraps. Is basically saying, you didn't do this alone. We did this for you. Page throws some shots back at Omega, says that you know what it was like to be in a tag team where you didn't necessarily think you were the best member of it, which is a callback to the Golden Lovers. Omega says that everything he's done and everything everything that he's ever done has been for Page to get to this moment. for Page to stand across the ring from Omega and fulfill his destiny. And then he closes it by saying, "I'm so proud of you, and let's tear it up on Saturday," which was really out of character. And you're like, all right, something's going on here. And sure enough, as soon as Kenny Omega looks to leave the ring, Don Callis blindsides Page, disguised as a cameraman, so he nails Page with a camera. Omega starts laughing in his face, and he signs the contract with Adam Page's blood. And oh my gosh, this match is going to be so good, you guys. Ugh. I have some really unfortunate news as well. I won't be able to cover Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Rampage, or Full Gear this week. This is November. It's my busiest month with work, school, and my lady, her birthday, our anniversary, all falling in the same weekend, and her parents coming into town. So I'm really sorry. I know this is my third pay-per-view that I have not covered in the 3 months I've existed, but I'm hoping to still cover it on Monday or Tuesday, but I'm not going to promise that because I just don't know if I'm going to have the time. But you know for sure I will be watching this Omega Hangman Page match, the Lucha Bros match. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most stacked cards. I'm going to try and release a prediction video tomorrow, just briefly touching fantasy booking and predicting as I did for Crown Jewel. But yeah, I can't. I'm not going to be able to review any more wrestling this week. So this is my one video of the week. Very sorry. But please hang out over at the Twitter and on Instagram, both at Hold for Hold. You can see them right here if you're here on YouTube or Twitch. And you can find me on any podcast app. I'm on Stitcher, I'm on Apple, I'm on Spotify, wherever you want to listen to us. And I really would appreciate the support and love. Yeah, man. Especially on the Instagram. I've been doing a bunch of memes that I think are really good. Like I really put my brain, my big fat juicy noggin on them. So yeah, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts about Full Gear, about Dynamite. What do you guys want to see? Oh, it's gonna be crazy. But anyways, you guys, on that note, I'm gonna be leaving. Hi, Phony08, and peace out, you guys. Thank you guys.